Hey everyone, it's RV Life with Ash. It is sunny and beautiful outside today here in Florida, so I decided I would come outside and I wanted to do a video today to share with you all a little bit about our journey with our epileptic son, who was actually diagnosed with epilepsy, complex epilepsy, soon after we made our transition to full-time RV living. I'm gonna try to keep it high level and touch on the most important pieces. But we did sell everything we own. We sold our home and we transitioned into full-time RV living as a family of 6, moved from Pennsylvania to Florida in August of 2024. So in February 2024, before we made the big move in August, all of our planning was really underway. Our youngest son, Stetson, who was 2 at the time, had a febrile seizure, and I feel like I always pronounce that wrong. Please don't come for me. I do have to say that in this entire journey and with all of the seizures that we've witnessed with him, this was the absolute scariest and the absolute worst. My personal opinion, that witnessing a seizure in a child when you are completely unfamiliar with it, you've never seen it, is by far the most horrific medical incident that you could ever witness. That day he did have a fever, he did have something viral, I believe at the time, and he had just woken up from a nap. His fever spiked too quickly. I was changing his diaper, and before I knew it, his eyes rolled in the back of his head, he arched his back, and he was out. So of course, me never witnessing a seizure in my life, I know nothing about them. I have him in my arms, I go running down the stairs. He's shaking, I don't know what's happening. I run outside. I lived in a pretty rural area. We had neighbors, but they were like far away. Screaming at the top of my lungs, he's dying, he's dying. I'm calling 911. Ambulance never came. Whole other can of worms. And so we threw him in the van and we flew to the Children's Hospital right there in Morgantown, West Virginia, which was about a 15-20 minute drive from our house. Ended up seeing the neurologist. They had diagnosed him with febrile seizure. We knew it was due to a spike in fever. This is him. Say hi. I'm telling your story.
I don't want a story.
He doesn't want the story. So we all felt pretty okay with it because febrile seizures are not that uncommon in toddlers when they're sick and when they have a fever. So we didn't even have a follow-up planned with the neurologist after that. We had her contact information, and she had just shared with us, if something else happens again or he has another one, reach out to me and we can talk about it more and have him looked at again, maybe run some more tests to see what's going on. So that was that. He didn't have any more over the next year. He was sick a lot because he was in daycare at that time, and he did not have any more febrile seizures. We had emergency medication that if he did and it lasted more than 5 minutes, we had the tools and resources to handle it. So fast forward almost exactly a year ahead. We had moved down here in August 2024. In February of 2025, it all came back. Except this time his seizures were a little different. They were more of the absence seizures where you're just kind of staring off into space. Your eyes are open, but your brain is offline. You're just completely gone. And it happened when he was with my husband. They were on the side-by-side at the ranch. Things were really different this time because he wasn't sick. He didn't have a fever. And not only did it happen once, but then the following days there were more. And so we of course rushed him to Children's of Alabama in Birmingham. We actually made one stop at the emergency room in Dothan, Alabama first, and then they rode us by ambulance to Children's of Alabama in Birmingham. It was about a 3.5 hour drive, longest ride of my life. For many tests and many discussions with the neurologist there, their team is fantastic, by the way. Absolute wonderful team of neurologists, team of nurses. It was wonderful care there. He was officially diagnosed with complex epilepsy, and the reason why he was diagnosed with complex epilepsy is because sometimes when Stetson seizes, it's not just a one and done. it is over and over and over, which can be very life-threatening because your brain is not made to be offline for that long. So in Stetson's case, he's considered high risk, and it's very critical that he gets his medication. He's on Keppra twice a day, once in the morning, once at night, cannot go longer than 12 hours apart. So we have timers on our phones. When we're with our neighbors, if we're having a campfire, the alarm goes off. Our neighbors, we have best friends here in this park that have become family to us. They're like, oh, it's Stetson's medicine time. Everybody knows it. We have been really blessed in regards to him doing really well on the medication. Now we, in all of our discussions with our neurologist, they're like, it might not work. We might have to pivot. We might have to regroup, try a new medication, but Keppra is the #1 medication for children with epilepsy. And so we've been very fortunate. It has worked great. We are in the clear since February last year. And the plan is for him to remain on Keppra until he is seizure free for 2 years. And then at that time, we will revisit and see if we want to try to wean him off and see if he has grown out of the epilepsy. There is a chance that children can grow out of it. There is a chance that they don't. So we'll just have to see what the future looks like in that regard. Another slight curveball that we had to navigate through with this whole situation is when Stetson first started the Keppra, he seemed okay. It took a few weeks for his body to regulate to it. So his temperament and his behavior was a little off, but we kind of expected that. And then he regulated and things mellowed out. Everything was going good. And then just a couple of months ago, so we're talking like already, 7-8 months on the medication with no real issues, things started shifting drastically. His temperament became just really short. He's multiple times a day, he was, quite literally throwing himself on the ground, rolling around, screaming, stomping, slamming his fists in the ground. It was almost unbearable. And it was unbearable to watch him. And I felt horrible for him because I know that that's not him. And so thankfully we have to see the neurologist. It was every 3 months. Now we've graduated to every 6 months. So that's a step in the right direction. We had a follow-up, conveniently timed when kind of all of this was really transpiring. And simple recommendation, she said it's a 50-50 chance this will work. If it doesn't, don't worry, reach out to me, we'll regroup, we can pivot to another med, but let's try this first. And guess what it was? B6, vitamin B6, once in the morning, once at night, crush it up. We put it in his Greek yogurt that he loves. You take it at the same time as his Keppra. It has worked wonders. If anybody out there, if your kids are on Keppra and you are noticing behavioral changes, try B6. You don't need a prescription for it. You can get it over the counter. It has worked wonders for us. It has eliminated, I am comfortable to say, almost all of his behavioral side effects that we were noticing from Keppra. That's really our story with our son's epilepsy journey in a nutshell. Again, I would really love to connect with families that have similar experiences. It has been a scary journey, a journey that I never would have thought we'd be coming along on, but something that I never lose sight of, or I try not to let myself lose sight of, is overall, Stetson is in great health. He's right now playing with his toy tractors in the dirt. He lives a very exciting day-to-day life for a 4-year-old, and this has not deprived him of anything. Of course, there's precautions that we need to always make sure, given his epilepsy, things that could put him in a more dangerous situation if he were to have a seizure and things like that. But overall, he's healthy and he's doing great. And we've been really blessed because there are many other illnesses and just horrible, heart-wrenching things that parents have to deal with their children. And so I don't take that for granted one bit. You are so cute.